Hey guys, it's Ivy, and today I have a different kind of video. I'm trying for the first time actually recording my iPad. I am really sorry about the lighting in this video. So I moved back in with my parents during this whole pandemic, everything. It just didn't make any kind of sense for me to keep an apartment while the world is on fire. So I'm living in the basement and the lighting is just freaking horrendous, and I have one window in here, but it's not enough, so I'm gonna have to try and figure out a different lighting setup for this next time, but for now, this is what we have, so hello. Welcome. This is one of my witches for my Patreon stickers. So this is my first month of Patreon. I actually ran a Patreon before for Sims content, which is wild, like lives in the past, you know, but this is my first month doing an art Patreon, and I'm doing like a monthly theme. So every month I make 3 mood boards, and the first week is voting on what those mood boards are going to be. And then the winner is kind of the aesthetic theme for the month, and then those whatever I make in that month gets sent out as a parcel to the highest tier. So that's kind of the deal. So I'm designing a few stickers this month for those parcel tiers, and also for you to just enjoy how they look because they're cute. And I've decided to go with pretty much a full-on like watercolor effect all done on the iPad this month. Probably different months will have kind of different themes going on, but that's what we're doing this month. So I'm just doing a very basic kind of pencil sketch as like a line art, like a really clean sketch, instead of doing like super primmed up line art. So that's what's going on. I'm really enjoying the fall vibes happening just everywhere in life. I've had a really good time this summer, lots of swimming in the river and just enjoying the outdoors, but I'm definitely excited to just enjoy the change of the seasons and all this beautiful weather. And it's finally starting to smell like fall. I love that smell. Oh my god, it's amazing. So I thought I would retell a story of my Halloween last year. It was probably the weirdest Halloween I've ever had. I mean, not even probably, like it was definitely the weirdest Halloween experience I've ever had. So last year I had moved up to PA to work at a coffee shop as a manager. And this was like an art gallery slash coffee shop, so I was really mostly not dealing with the coffee stuff. I was kind of doing art gallery things, which was cool. But anyway, so I was working at this place, and this guy came in for coffee like almost every day. I'm not gonna say his real name, let's call him Bob. So Bob came in for coffee every day, and he's like, I mean, you know, kind of an older middle-aged guy, and not the kind of person I would typically hang out with, but like I get along with everyone pretty much, so you know, I'm on good terms with Bob. He's pretty cool. We have fun. And I had actually brought my portfolio into the gallery a few times before Halloween came around, so he had seen my work and actually bought some of my prints, which is like interesting because that didn't happen very often, but thanks Bob. So that was cool. He was a nice guy, as far as I knew. Ooh, ominous. No. So anyway, Halloween came around. I had only been living there for a few months, I guess, at that point. God, when did I move there? Like July or something? I kind of lose track, frankly, but I had not made a ton of super close friends at this point in time. I actually did get to go to a Halloween party like the weekend before, something like that, but like for actual Halloween, nobody had invited me to do anything. So Halloween was like here. It was the day of Halloween, and I think I had already gone to my party, or maybe I had just this was like the next day or so. I can't remember, but either way, I was working. So I was at the gallery, and it's Halloween, feeling the vibes, and Bob comes in for his coffee, and I had actually, so Bob he has a stepfather, so I had met his son before, and his son is like a trans kid, so we kind of got on because I'm a weirdo that loves the gays and everybody in that spectrum. So I think, you know, this kid and I had a good rapport. So I had kind of known that he was, you know, dad. And so Bob is in and we're talking. And I'm telling him that I don't have any plans for Halloween. And he's like, really? Like, do you want to like come trick-or-treating with my kids? And I was like, like kinda, actually. Like, I really like kids, so, and I hated the idea of just like going home and doing nothing on Halloween, so I was kind of like, I mean, I guess. And then he kind of reminds me that he also has a 5-year-old daughter, so he has like these 2 kids, and he's like, yeah, come along, they like you, like whatever. And I was like, seriously? And he was like, yeah. So I was like, well, what do I do if I decide I want to go? Like, do I just show up at your house or like what? I mean, because I don't have any contact with this dude outside of the gallery, right? So he's like, yeah. Now, the thing about Bob is that his house is pretty much famous where I lived. He has a lot of flamingos in his yard all the time, and he kind of lives like close to Main Street, so you pass this house, and for every season he has a collection of flamingos, pink ass, bright ass flamingos in his front yard. That's seasonal and changing. So of course I knew where he lived because he has the flamingo house. So I was like, so I just show up at the flamingo house, and he's like, yep. And I was like, at like when? And he's like, I don't know, like 5:30 or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, if nobody like invites me to do anything else, then I'm gonna freaking show up at your house. And he's like, great. Now, I'm sure that he did not expect me to actually show up, in hindsight. However, like, he invited me, right? Like, that's totally an invitation. He told me I could come. So, you know, my shift ended. It was getting late into the evening. I hadn't talked to anyone else. Nobody invited me to do anything else. And I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna go to this dude's house and trick-or-treat with his kids because I don't want to just, like, do nothing for Halloween. So I put on my like alpaca onesie. This is my costume, I guess I decide, because it's cute. I don't know, it's super easy. So I get all cute in my alpaca onesie and I walk all the way down Main Street to this dude's house. Now, I had kind of miscalculated how far away this house was gonna be, for one thing. So this was mistake like number 3 at this point probably, but it was not wise. So I walk there, and I show up, and I see no signs of life there, but I'm sure it's his house. Of course it's his house. I see his fancy car there, and I'm kind of like poking around, like I ring the front doorbell or whatever. Like, I don't know how to get in, basically, or like how to let anybody know that I'm here. And as I'm standing awkwardly dressed as a blue alpaca, like a minivan rolls into the driveway, and it's his wife and the 5-year-old daughter, and the wife is like, hello? Like, who is this person? like I had never met her. And she's like, are you looking for like my son? So I'm like, no, I'm here for Bob. He invited me to go trick-or-treating with him, basically. So this lady's like, okay. Like, she's like, okay, I guess come inside. So I go inside. And he is in there. Bob's in there, but I guess he was like in his some kind of den where he couldn't hear people knocking or whatever. Again, this is where I start to realize, oh shit, nobody expected me to actually roll up. Nobody thought that I was going to be as excited about trick-or-treating with some little kids as I am, because that's my vibe. So Bob comes out and he's like, oh dang hey. And he starts showing me around the house while the wife gets the kids ready to go trick-or-treating. And you can tell this lady is not very happy that I have rolled up. And I don't know the context of why at this point, but I'm like, okay, well, yikes, this is uncomfortable. But Bob starts showing me around his house, which is kind of wild in and of itself. They have a lot of really interesting collections of things, like kitschy. It's just like walking into a strange uncle's house, kind of, and seeing his wall of, I don't know, like didgeridoos or some like random thing like that. And you're like, why do you have 50 didgeridoos? And it's just like, I don't know, I just do. So he just like showed me around the house with all of his collections of like bobbleheads and more flamingos and just kind of a whole wild experience. So I'm like, okay. At this point, the son rolls up, and so he kind of knows me. We're kind of friends or whatever. And he's like, oh, hey. I'm like, hey, I guess I'm going trick-or-treating with you guys. And he's kind of like, oh, we don't really go as like a family ever. What? Like, I'm gonna go with my friends. Are you gonna go with like the daughter, like the 5-year-old? And I was like, I don't know. I just like rolled up for some good times, buddy. So it basically boiled down to like, I guess we're all going trick-or-treating together. So I've completely thrown off the family dynamic because usually Bob stays home and his wife and the 5-year-old go trick-or-treating by themselves and the son goes with his friends. So now we're all together, and at this point it's rainy and cold and a miserable Halloween. So we're like, okay, let's set out for this grand adventure. And it's really freaking windy. Like, Bob had a like an umbrella that just got like turned inside out. It's nuts out there, but we are trying our best to go through the neighborhood and do a trick-or-treating thing. So that happens, and we're going along, and I'm having a good time. Like, I'm getting along with the kids. Like, it's fun. I'm like, oh, everything's fine. I guess I overreacted earlier, thinking that I had made everything terrible. But, so we're going along, and at some point in time, I'm kind of ahead with the kids, and I look back and I don't see Bob anymore, but I do see his wife, and she comes up to pretty much the 5-year-old and goes like, honey, your dad has ruined this night. And I was like, uh-oh. She was not happy. She was like crying a little, like, I was like, oh shit. So she's just like, your dad has just like ruined this night. He never comes, and I just thought this was going to be a fun thing between us, and I just want to go home. Let's just go home. And so the 5-year-old's like, okay, mom. Like, so they go home, and there I am with the son, and I was just kind of like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Like, I feel so guilty. I have ruined like this family's night completely, and I'm just trying to salvage anything for this poor kid that I'm with. And he's like, I just want to go home. So I was like, dang, all right. Like, everything had crumbled. Everybody was separated. And as we're walking back, this kid is like, I just freaking hate Bob. Basically, like, he's like, oh, just like, I hate my stepdad. Like, I mean, I don't want to share the intimate details of why, but he, you know, was not happy. And I felt so bad because to me, Bob is just like the sweet guy that rolls up to the coffee shop. Like, I don't know anything about it, but I'm like trying to be there for this kid and like comfort him and be like, hey, it's cool. Like, you can tell me anything. I promise there won't be any like, you know, I just want you to feel safe sharing with me because I'm not gonna make things bad for you, basically, based on what you tell me. And so he's like telling me all this stuff about his dad as we walk back. And so we get back to the place. I like managed to drop the kid off, And at this point in time, it is so cold, so rainy, like absolutely miserable out there, and I did not bring a car, and nobody is out there to like nobody's on good terms, so I can't be like, hey, can you give me a ride or anything? I'm like, okay, time to walk back home with my shoes like absolute puddles, dressed as, again, a blue freaking alpaca. I'm gonna walk home like the late night of Halloween. So I go there. You know, I'm like, I'm fine. I got this. I turned my music on. I had my headphones, and I'm just like powering down Main Street, like headed back to my apartment. Everything's cool. I feel really guilty for messing everything up, but also I guess I feel like it's not really my fault because he invited me. Like, I did not know that it was going to devolve into misery, and I just felt so bad for the kids. Like, I didn't want to make anybody uncomfortable, and yet I guess I did. So, genuine apologies. I felt so bad. So I'm walking home, this like long walk home down Main Street, and Bob rolls up beside me in his like fancy vintage car and is like, you should not be walking home right now in the dark. So he gave me, you know, a ride home down like a block or something. I remember I said a really cool line here. It was something like, he was like, there's monsters out there, you know? And I was like, I'm the monster, or something. Like, I don't remember. Actually, I think I have a diary entry that might have said it. One sec. All right, here's my diary entry. It says, Bob pulls up in a fancy car that I can't draw, because of course I draw things in my diary. And then it says, yeah, there's like a speech bubble, and it says, you shouldn't be walking out here. There's strange creatures out tonight. And I responded, I am strange creatures. Oh boy. So I get home and I am so wet and soggy and just, it's been a ride, but you know, I'm not feeling horrible about it. For one thing, I got a Capri Sun out of it. One of the houses was giving away Capri Suns, and I didn't really collect candy, but you bet your butt that I collected a Capri Sun. And I had like a handful of candy too, so I have like my little collection of candy, and I get out of my blue alpaca outfit and go take a shower and everything, and I ended up texting my, I'm not really sure if he really counted as my boyfriend at this point in this point in time, but one day he would be, so I'm just gonna refer to him as that. So I was like telling him all about what just transpired, and he ended up coming over and we watched like some trashy, horrible movie, and he kind of made me feel better. So that was really sweet, but it was just such a, oh boy, like I've gotten into some really very strange situations while I was living there, and I often referred to it as kind of living my weird Scooby-Doo life, because that's kind of how it felt. Like I would expect one thing and then I would roll up and it would just be like the weirdest collection of instances that would transpire. Like, I mean, here I thought I was just gonna go like, I don't know, walk around with a 5-year-old and see some cute kids like trick-or-treating, because that sounds fun to me. Did not really expect to be shown around like crazy collection house and break apart a family and make a mother cry and just like, I am so sorry. I really am. Like, I feel so weird about it in hindsight, because of course I only have the best intentions all the time, and I just wanted to have fun, like, with some kids, because I like kids a lot, and I don't get to hang out with them very much, but it just wasn't right, I guess. Not the right set of circumstance. So, that was my Halloween. It was pretty nuts. Yeah. This year, though, probably gonna be a lot more low-key. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything, like literally anything. I guess I'll maybe watch some movies and stuff like that. But I have been really in isolation. I probably talked about that before, but like I live with my parents who are both over 60 and they have some respiratory issues and stuff. And anyway, sparing you the details, we are being just like tremendously cautious. Because we don't, I mean, we can be, but I really don't see anybody right now. So that's an interesting dynamic as well. So, because I'm looking forward to watching like The Great Pumpkin and drawing witches all month. But honestly, I kind of like it, like, because I really like my work and I've been having a lot of fun lately. So there's a part of me that really enjoys just like, leave me alone. I just want to do my craft and not see anybody and deal with anybody. I like people a lot, but I'm also having fun just doing my thing. So it's all good. Alright guys, well, this was an interesting storytelling, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I think it's interesting, but I don't actually know if my storytelling skills specifically are all too good, but that is what happened and it was nuts to me. So yeah. I hope you enjoy this little witchy illustration. I really have been having a ton of fun with this and I can't wait to show you guys everything that I'm making this month for Patreon and things beyond it. It's gonna be awesome. All right, I'm out. Thanks guys.